Now, inefficient climate policies are keeping private sector financing to the African continent low. Now, a policy review will remove long-standing barriers, with industry players saying it will enable governments to tailor-make specific solutions aimed at equipping the continent to tackle climate change-induced disruptions. Mokamindita with the details.
Despite only contributing less than 4% of greenhouse gases, Africa remains the most vulnerable to impacts of climate change, yet no proactive approaches are being made, especially to make funds available for African nations. In the years 2019 and 2020, an annual average of $29.5 billion in climate finance was committed to Africa, and approximately 39% of those commitments, which is equivalent to $11.4 billion, targeted adaptation activities. Of the $11.4 billion in adaptation commitments tracked from 2019 to 2020, more than 97% came from public actors, while less than 3% was tracked from the private sector. As a result, stakeholders say the lack of uptake in investments from private sector and other non-credit actors has been hampered by inefficient policies on climate change that have seen Africa portrayed as a risky investment destination.
The African Climate Summit really shows the potential of very good investments in Africa to combat climate change, but also to increase the number of jobs and economic growth.
Additionally, they called for initiatives that will build capacity on the articulation of investment-ready national adaptation plans and mainstream climate resilience in government procurement. This, they said, will make African countries' climate environments more competitive, transparent, and accountable.
I see so many good examples of investment all over Africa, and we as a climate bank are often involved in this to leverage those resources into strong climate investments.
They also called upon development partners to create stronger synergies between international and national sources of finance that will help foster collaboration on climate change-related issues in a more harmonized and integrated approach.
The way forward is attracting private capital. We are a crowd-in bank, in the meaning that we want to do investments that also crowds in private capital.
Climate financing and investments have been one of the biggest takeaways of the first day of the African Climate Summit, and now stakeholders are urging African governments to rework their policies and regulatory frameworks to ensure that Africa gets the kind of investment and funding it deserves. Reporting for Prime Edition, my name is Nduta Mokami.